Welcome back to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored with Caroline Stanbury. And today I am joined by Vicki Gunvalson, who I love, adore, and she is the OG of Housewives. You really are the
Uh,
OG of Housewives. I don't think there's anyone before you, was
no,
there?
no. Actually, first cast and first season. That was 19 years ago, Caroline. 19 years ago, we filmed. A long time.
19
I know.
years ago. Vicki, I grew up watching you. You were one of the reasons I
Uh,
wanted to do Housewives. I think you're one of the reasons everyone wants to do Housewives. We grew up with your family, and you are just such a
Thank you.
joy to watch. Like, what I love about you is you're so unapologetically you.
Yeah.
You really are.
I
It's
always used to say back in the day when I was filming, I was only as good as the last episode or only as good as the last season because, as you know, when we're filming, it's our reality. I remember Kathleen French sat down with us one day and said, "What's going on in your life?" And I'm like, I work, I take care of my family. It's my life. And you don't know that through that season, your mom's going to die, your daughter's going to get married. Like all these different things happen. I never had to think about what am I going to film because it was true, authentic, my life. And the struggles of filming and managing a business, that's tough. Um, and the relationship, all I wanted was love. I divorced Don for Brooks, and Brooks was a nightmare and lied about cancer, and I got caught in that whole disaster of a web. And then I was looking again to hopefully find a really quality man, and then we both have the same common thread of being with narcissists. And I never even knew what a narcissist was until it happened to me. And then you and I connected, God, years ago about the trauma of that and recovering from a narcissistic relationship. So, if through those 19 years, it's been a it's been a trial, but it's also been really a good experience, when I think about it.
I can't believe it actually. Kathleen French did Ladies of London too. And it really is
Wow.
bravo for those
I
of you that don't know it. And NBC is an
Yep.
institution. Everybody has been there forever and we all sort of know each other. Once you join the Bravo family, you kind of really get to know each other. You, I feel, have weathered an unbelievable storm because not many people, Vicky, managed 19 years on reality TV. I mean, you've been through, as you said, everything. I was reading today, actually, it's very hard to keep a
Yeah.
marriage together through a reality TV show. And I think we saw
Yep.
that with you and Don. Um, but to see the growth, actually, oddly, to see how much you've grown in that 19 years. I was just saying, I'm looking at you as you sit in your
My beautiful home.
beautiful apartment
I'm
in
gonna get you to move here.
Mexico,
I'm gonna
looking at
get you
the
to buy a
ocean.
place here with me. We'll
I
hang out
know.
together.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I love you. You know that. I would love one next year. To see the growth in that, because to be able to pivot, Vicky, at our age, it's not easy, and you have done it very, very effortlessly. We were just talking about it just now. How many women sort of aspire to or don't know how to pivot? You have pivoted a million fucking times. And where you're sitting right now must feel
It is,
pretty
and I,
fucking
I
amazing.
sometimes look out of the ocean. See the whales jumping and the mountains, and I just closed on another property down there. It's the tallest building in Bandera Bay, and I think like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur. No matter what business you and I do, we're going to succeed because we don't. Failure is not an option. Um, Failure, I feel
No.
sometimes with the housewives is I couldn't make the next pivot. Like I wanted to maybe do my own TV show or something off of that conflict era. And when you're filming The Housewives of Orange County or Dubai, you know that you don't know what the other people are up to. So you only know what you're doing, and you assume everybody's going to be happy and loving life and showing our life. And it's not always that way. But when I'm here, I have really a sense of peace. My mom and dad introduced it to me 40 years ago. My dad's been gone for 25 years. And I brought my kids here when they were 2 and 3 years old, and there's a legacy here that I want my grandkids to come. But I'm on the 15th floor, so Brianna's really apprehensive about that right now until they're a little bit older, and I get it. My other condo is 22 floors up, so she's like, absolutely not. But I want to create that legacy for my kids and their kids, and have a place where we all can come and just enjoy life, because it's hard. Life is hard sometimes, right?
It's really hard, but I think, at the same time, I think sometimes, in a way, being able to have stops in a show
Hmm.
like we have done, I think sometimes the show blocks you just because, as you said, we were entrepreneurs, both of us, before we
Hmm.
joined the show. And I think the thing about the show is it becomes all encompassing. It becomes your whole fucking life. Everyone says they sell you the dream that it's 3 months of work and then you go home to your normal life. That's bullshit.
No,
Then you
it's a
have the
year. It's a
green
year.
screen. Then you have
Yeah.
it's a full
Hmm.
year's work. So, which we've all love it. We wouldn't have done it
Right.
as long as we've done it if we didn't love it. Don't get me wrong, but you don't walk away after 3 months. And what happens is
No.
those women do become your life. It becomes your life. Even if you don't like them, they're your life. They're in your life. They're very much about your life. And I think when you're a businesswoman, it takes your eye off that
Yeah.
ball sometimes. The ball that, when you're like in an office and you are laser focused on building your legacy for your kids or whatever else that you could have done, sometimes that has, just completely gone because you're so busy fighting the
and,
most
and you
ridiculous
don't even know
fight.
why. Like, oh,
And
is this a
yeah,
real fight, or is this something that
no.
you're just making up in your mind? And that's a tough part for
Hmm.
me, is I just want to peel that onion back and go, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then you go to the producers, like, what are you doing? Lori had said one time that I had been in a threesome. I'm like, what are you doing? It was my sister, you and I in the hotel room. That is not a threesome. We all had separate beds. Like, it was crazy to me. So that's when I get so worked up, and they know they could push that button and I'll defend myself to the nth degree. And
I know, but you have to, that's the problem. They do. And I think because they're not family and, but it's so irritating and you're sort of blindsided on screen. You're like, what are you talking about? Um, in a normal world, maybe we
I
wouldn't
know,
get so
I
wound
know,
up and crazy about it. But
I
your
know.
head spins off. It actually spins off. But that's what's so funny too, because I genuinely now, and that's what's nice about the way we've done it, is I've had breaks in between all my shows when I can sit back and look at it. Although, sometimes I'm like, oh, another one. But when I sit back now, I laugh and go,
I
why did I get
know.
so worked up?
It's
Like,
embarrassing when I start screaming. It's like, what is going on with
yeah.
me? This is not who I am. I don't scream. I don't yell. I talk things through. But when they push that one button, they know exactly the button to push. It's like, okay, let's go. You know?
Yeah, but that's what made you such great TV. But now to see how settled and how different your life is, like, and actually, I think Kyle's husband was just saying it's
Yeah.
very, very
I just
hard
saw
to
that. He said,
keep a relationship
it's
and to
not good for
find a good
reality.
one.
For reality TV is not good for marriages. I think if you're an actress or an actor, you can separate the two. But you and I are enthralled in
Yeah.
showing your relationship, showing the age gap, showing the ethnic gap, showing just life. And everybody wants to ruin that. And I've been with both of you, and I inspire to have that relationship. I do with Michael. We've gone through a little bit of weaving in and out, but he hasn't been on TV, and he doesn't encourage himself to be on TV. He's not a fame whore. He's a developer. He's got his own gig going. So I think that's been good for us, is to know the balance. Like, you're in your lane, I'm in my lane. I'm going to do appearances. Hopefully you and I can get on the road and do them together and inspire
Hmm.
women to really take their life by their own hands and not depend upon somebody else to control their life. And it's nice and refreshing to have a man that just really supports me, just like you, Sergio. I love you guys. I mean, I love you guys. Everybody looks to
No, we
inspire
love
to
you.
have a relationship that's loving and kind, and working together.
I'm so happy for you, honestly, to go from
Yeah.
someone like Brooks, like,
And Steve,
and
yeah.
to have the, it was, I know how, and then Steve, yeah, how hard it was for you to go through those relationships and come out the other side. And you have. And I think sometimes, do you think that being in the show and being so busy with your TV stuff that maybe you just were more oblivious to
Yeah.
the red
I wanted love
flags?
more than anything. I mean, I paid for all their stuff because I never wanted them to leave. I thought, if I'm a strong woman and I'm financially secure and they're not as financially secure, why would they leave me? We don't fight. We have good, intimate, relations, and we travel the world. But I probably demasculated them without even knowing I did. But for me, it was a way for them to say, you know what, let's do this life together. I'll be the moneymaker. Let's just do this life together. But for them, it wasn't enough, or maybe it was, and they were looking for something else. I don't know. But with Michael, I talk about it. It said he's got his money, I got my money. Together, we're looking at doing things more together. So it's more of a respectful relationship versus me being in control. I felt like when I was in control, they'll never leave me, and that's my biggest thing. I don't want to be left. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be left. Yeah,
Nobody wants to be left. But I do feel that there is different types, because I think you hit the nail on the head, and I've said it time and time again. The key to a relationship is talking, and I
yeah,
think especially about
yeah,
finances. And I think most of us, no matter what, are too embarrassed
yep,
to talk money with our partners. It's an ugly subject that people don't like. You are very successful. And I think then an older man can get into either being demasculated or going, oh, she's so rich, she
yeah.
can do it anyway. Um, and
No,
that's
it's
not a
not a
good
good place
place
to
to be.
be. And, you know, I'm all about prenups and postnups because I've acquired my money prior to Michael. He's acquired his money. But then you can do, you know, and this is something we're working through. Whatever we decide to build together, then that's joint. But my pre assets, all my homes, I don't feel, God forbid, if he decides to go with a 20-year-old, he gets entitled to that. That's mine. That's my kids. That's my legacy. And
Of
he's
course
fine with
not.
it. And that's good. You
I
did?
did that. I did exactly that. Yeah, I did exactly that, because obviously I had
Right.
money before. I had stuff that I got from my ex-husband too. All of that money is
Right.
entitled to my
It's not
children.
for
Nothing to
Sergio.
do with him. Not He's
Right.
not getting one penny of that. No, it's not for Sergio, and that's got nothing to do with him
Right.
in a bad way. And he was fine with that. Nor does he want it. But as you said, the things that you do together, and these are such important conversations. Plus,
I
what
know.
if one of you dies? That's
I know.
also a
Well, we're all going to
conversation.
die. You know, that's
Yeah,
my
before
business
the
is
other
life
one. Well, that's
insurance.
true.
But we're all going to die, and when you're
Yes.
not properly set up, see, I would be willing to get a policy on myself and give Michael X amount of dollars and carve him out of everything because life insurance is going to happen eventually. We're all going to die. He'll get that tax free, and then he'll do one on me. But I've got enough life insurance on me right now that my kids will get it. I'll spend every last dollar that I have and then give them the life insurance and my properties and things like that. So that's definitely something that
Hmm.
has to have a conversation, regarding your legacy, how we're going to do that.
How far into your relationship with Michael, going through such bad relationships that you've had, and maybe making poor decisions because of you keep saying that you didn't want to be left or you needed love so much? How did you consciously, because you met
Yep.
him after the show,
Three,
how did you consciously change
well, it's
your
been 3 years.
habits?
We'll be together 3 years in January. And I changed my habits because I started journaling. As crazy as this sounds, I journal a lot, and I look back at my emotions and my thoughts when I was with Stephen Brooks, and it was just hang on. And I remember this image when you are trying to hang on to something that's leaving your hands, and your hands are all bloody and ripped. You got to let them go. And I was trying to control the situation where why are you unhappy, Steve? Why are you unhappy, Brooks? And it's like everything's about you. Everything's about the show. Everything's about your property, your stuff, your this. I'm like, whatever you had prior to us, that's yours. But they had nothing. He had a small pension as a cop. And that was the problem. We were not equally yoked. So I've changed in knowing that
At all.
communication and not hanging on to somebody that is not right for us. I think that was
You know what I always say? You can't hold on to somebody by holding on. And
by
that's the
what you cut
truth.
out. But you can't hold on to
You can't hold
right.
someone by holding on.
It's true. And I was
You
doing that.
cannot. And that's the truth. Yeah. And I think the show does that too, because you want to have a partner, and actually just what they were saying is it's all about you. It's all about the show. It is. That's the truth. That is
Yep.
the actual truth.
Hmm.
He's not lying. It becomes all about your life, all about the show, because when you get off, you're so annoyed. That's all you talk about. And that's all you have in your life at that time, because you don't get to see friends. You don't really spend time with family. That is your life, the show. So, it's very hard on a man as well. That's not conducive with a equal relationship in any way, because even say he was a working man who had a proper job, he
Right.
doesn't want to come home to that.
Yeah, and every fight we film, every fight
So,
I came home, I talked to him about it, and it's like it was exhausting. It was
yeah.
exhausting with him. Then he'd go to an appearance, and he's like, "Who are we talking to tonight?" I'm like, "Okay, this person was mean to me last week. This person, like, it was crazy. It was like, what am I doing here? This show is controlling my life versus me controlling my life, and it's much healthier now. I miss the thought of not being on this season. I might do some appearances here and there, but I know deep down filming with, let's say, Tamara was toxic. I mean, you never know which Tamara you were going to get. And her and I have been friends 14 years, but after I saw how she treated Shannon this year, it was like, I can't have those people in my life anymore. And, it was one year she loved me, next year she didn't. It was like,
What did go so wrong? What
um,
did go so wrong? Because, as from the outside,
I
we all
know. We
loved
had a
you and
great,
her. Loved you. And you were
yep,
like
we had a great
the duo.
threesome.
Like you were the
But I think
first.
it was for me seeing how she was treating Shannon. I thought I'm next. It was just so deep and dark, and the name calling, and it was hard for me to witness it. And I thought I can't anymore, because birds of a feather flock together. If you're hanging out with those type of people, your outside friends are going, "What are you doing? Is this the show friendship, or is this the real friendship?" And we had filmed 14 years together, but it was every other year she was fighting with me, and it's exhausting. And I thought, okay, this is TV, this is reality. We all got to create drama, I guess. When I started this, it wasn't supposed to be about drama. It was supposed to be inspiring women and living a great life, a full life, business women, raising our kids, doing life. And we had hoped that at the time that this was going to be something that people would catch on to and look at our fashion and look at our where we live and how we make a living. I think that has lost its way. Now it's like, oh, I'm going to go to the dinner party tonight, and the producer tells you, by the way, this person said this about you. You might want to confront her. I'm like, what? So that's the hard part, and I'm sure you experienced that, right?
Look, it's definitely a double-edged sword, but at the same time, like any of us, I don't think I would have given
Yeah, I
up the
loved it, and I
experience
miss
in
it.
any
I
way,
miss
shape, or
it.
form. I think, yeah, and that's the thing, it's like it is nice to have a break. It is, because it
Reset.
gets,
Hmm.
very, very tough. But once you've had that, yeah, you reset, but then you're ready again. And I think what happens is you meet
You
incredible
really
people
do.
along the way. And I was thinking the other day, at our age, who gets to
No,
work
it's
like this? You
fabulous.
can still do what you do, and it is. And, the life that you have built outside of the show, and still being outside of
Right.
the show, but in it, you're able to go and hold an
Yeah.
audience now,
Very
having been off
confidently, I can
screen for how
speak
long?
thousands and thousands of people and not be one bit of jitter. I know exactly what to say, how to engage with them. And it gives you a sense of strength that we have a good voice. Caroline, you and I have a good story behind us. We have,
Mm-hmm.
um, we've got the properties, I've got the properties, and I'm looking at how can I get that mailbox money every month so I'm not so stressed out every month. Running an insurance business 34 years has taken a toll on me. It's up and it's down, and you're always prospecting. And I'm at the place where I'm putting it up for sale this year. I'm getting all my acquisition documents ready to go, so I can now do what I want to do, which is appearances and TV and all these other things that I really enjoy. And that's a new page for me, where it's just that and not my insurance. So
But I think that's really exciting. And having an audience like my audience here, which is, so many women out there listening, you have so much to give because, say the show isn't the show and it's a man that's left somebody, and suddenly they're used to a
Yeah.
certain lifestyle and a certain income and it's gone. I think we're very powerful examples of making our way at, 40. I'm 48. You're a little bit older than me. I think we are
Unfortunately, that
we
clock
are
won't stop turning.
good.
It's like, okay, I'm done.
It's okay. But you look
Thank you.
fucking fabulous and you've got
Yeah.
more energy than all of us put together. So, and I think that that is inspiring and I think that needs to be told. And I think too many people give up and you are stuck. This is a whole new
Yep.
outcome for you. Did you see this? Like, how did you get into
How did I
property, by the
what get
way?
what?
Get into
Oh,
doing the
I've always
properties.
owned properties since I was 18 years old. Some of them I had rentals, some of them I lived in and flipped them. I just enjoy it. I really love decorating. I love making a nice home for myself. Um, so I've got three properties here in Mexico, one in Costa de Casa, and I'm looking to do another one. But it's just fun for me, and I enjoy it. And the decorations and the whole thing, and each one has a different flair. Mexico here is so neat with the woods and the different color schemes and the beautiful artists. Just the artists here are. You can go down to the flea market down by the marina, and I get some of their paintings and frame them and bring them back to California. And people are like, where did you get this? It's like, it was $200 at the flea market, but beautifully handwritten note on the back about the inspiration of why that artist did that. It's incredible that you're going to have to come because the authenticity and the character of the Mexican culture is, I've never met anything like it. But then again, I've never been to Dubai, so I'm going to get there someday.
I mean, it's crazy because I've just bought 3 properties here and I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm actually making and creating my own brand where each property is the same as my home. So when
I
people
love
come,
that.
it's like they're
Oh, I
staying
love
in my
that.
house. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is really cute. I don't know why I came up with it, but it's just every single one will be the same. And I don't know how I'm in it now, but I'm as passionate as you are. And I think the point is, if you find something
Hmm.
like this, and this is not where I was before or what I was doing. My passion was TV. Your passion was TV. And like, I probably thought my world would end after TV. And I don't know if we're going back. We're paused. Of course I would love to go back. But if we don't, I'm
Yeah.
also prepared. And I think that's a very, very
Yeah.
comfortable place to be. And look, maybe that your relationship wouldn't have flourished
Agreed.
like it has in the same way had he met the Vicky that her head's. I mean, talking to you, Vicky, I've never seen you this zen. You're complete. You just said to me, I'm going to have to leave in like, 30 because I'm
Yeah.
going to the supermarket. Like, you're
Yeah.
so
It
fucking
really
zen.
feels good to. I'm one with God here. I really feel like my parents' spirit is here at that ocean when I see the whales jumping and the sun setting. And I'm one of five. I was the firstborn, and my father and I had a very strong relationship. I was their victory because they waited 10 years to have me. And then my dad got Alzheimer's at 59. So I look at life really different now that I'm
Oh,
aging. And what is my next 10 years, 5 years, 20 years? And God willing, I can live a long life and enjoy it and bless others and teach others, because I don't think that people would come to see us unless we've experienced the hard knocks of life. We have a story that can help others. And I look at life like a season. We got the summer and the winter, the spring and the fall. And whenever I talk to people, it's, you're in a bad season or you're in a really good season. Be prepared for the storm to come because it will. Not everybody's life is on a trajectory of always being perfect. People are
no,
going to die. People
no.
are going to leave you. People are going to betray you or hurt you. And it's how we realize it's that season of life that we're in, and it will be better and it will change, you know?
It is a season. I just posted today this Instagram post that literally made my hair stand on end. It was a girl sitting there going, "The moment you realize these aren't your people, and these aren't your topics
Yeah.
anymore." And it made my whole thing because I just went, Oh my God, I've been there, where you've sat at a table with people you've known for years, but you have absolutely
Yep.
outgrown your
Yep.
space and it's
Not home
not home
anymore.
anymore.
And
And it's really a strange
destination, and
feeling.
God has a way, if you're a believer, that, when one door closes, another one opens. People have said that before. I'm like, bullshit. I'm waiting for that door to open, but in his perfect timing, it will happen. And if I pray a lot, I just, sometimes I feel lost and I feel confused, and it sets me straight when I can journal and say, okay, this is a bad season I'm in, or this is, my daughter lives really far away from me now, and it breaks my heart. I wasn't with her over the holidays, but it's her life now. And I realize that I have to create my life. You've raised your kids, they've got their families. And I moved away from my mom when I went from Illinois to California, and she was heartbroken. But I realize now that I've got grandkids that I can't see them all the time. I can't be there for them all the time. And it's been hard for me to swallow that, but I know now it's her life, and I had to kind of release myself from, controlling that. There's just a lot of moving parts in our lives. There's just a lot. So
As you
it
said,
is what
it's
it
a
is,
different
right?
season. I think the difficulty for someone like, well, it is what it is. And the difficulties for someone like yourself is when you have a TV show, we're surrounded by 15, 20, 30 people every fucking day. So when the show goes and your kids are grown and you only have yourself to look at, I think somehow looking at you now, you're not giving yourself enough credit for all the things that you have done
Yeah.
correctly or the things that you've achieved, really achieved. And, you're on such a bicycle
Yep.
hamster wheel of the way you've always been. But if you sat back for a minute and said, holy fuck, I did all this, you've
Right.
raised your kids, you've done that, you've been on a reality show, I think you'd shock yourself. But I do understand the loneliness that comes with a show that
Right.
has gone, because the show creates a weird
It sure
family.
does. And it creates a sense of empowerment. I don't know about you, but when I'm filming and then when it's airing and we go to New York and we're on the side of a bus, and it's like, I'm a hometown girl from, suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. What in the world, And you
Mm.
start going, wow, this has been an incredible ride, and I don't want the ride to end. There's going to be another bus or ride I get on. I don't know what it is yet. I know it's out there, and I hope Bravo's not done with me yet. But if they are, I'm okay. It was a great, like Andy said, you can't be on forever. I'm like, why? Why can't I be on forever? I'm good TV. But he's like, they're bringing it.
If
No, they're
anyone
bringing
can,
in the
you
younger
can.
ones with the small kids, which is where I was when I started, almost 20 years ago. So I'm friends with everybody on the cast right now, but I'm not having to film with them, get into the weeds with them. I worry about the people that don't have a career like you and I, like, other cast members that when this show ends, what are they going to do? They've been divorced on the show. They don't have another career. They're not an entrepreneur. I worry about that sometimes but I don't have to worry about it, but I do worry about it because I worry about everybody. What are they going to do? You know, it's a false sense of security.
Well, I think that goes for anyone. I think, and I think that is what we were talking about before, is teaching women to learn, because if they leave, a relationship leaves them, if somebody passes away, if you're suddenly left on your own and you don't
Yeah.
know how to earn money in today's world, you're
Well,
absolutely
what I see,
screwed.
a,
And
a
I
lot
think
of people
that's,
here in
yeah.
California, they're like a monkey. They go to the next relationship, and they don't have any sense of I can do this on my own. And that's the bad part about getting into another relationship so quickly when there's a divorce or a death, and not really knowing how you can manage on your own. That's I'm trying to encourage all these ladies to, don't be a monkey. Don't go from one branch to the next because you pay for it. You know, got to have time by yourself.
Find find your niche, learn who you are, find what turns you on. As you said, your face lights up with the property. My face lights up with property. I didn't know I was going to be here. I love doing these podcasts. I love speaking to people. Vicki and I are discussing, talking, going out there and coming and talking to all of you. This year, I've been going on and on about doing it, and I haven't got there because we've just been
We're
so
going to
busy.
do
But
it.
now I don't have
2025,
housewives,
we're
so
hitting the road.
yeah.
It'll be good.
2025. And I think it's a really important time. And I think the world has changed. And, Vicky, you're a very powerful, strong voice for a woman who has had it all,
Yeah.
and I think that's a
And I don't
great
take it for
message to get out
granted,
today.
but I also know that I created it. I didn't wait for it to come. And those of you that are listening, like, you have to create your own reality. It's not just going to come to you. You have to create it, whatever it may be.
It won't knock
Hmm.
on your door. And that really is a powerful point, because if you just sit there, and I think people expect the world to hand you something, it won't. It really won't. It's about taking that first step. But once you take the first step,
Yeah.
somehow, doesn't it
Yes.
snowball? I'm sure you started
Yep.
with one apartment there and went,
Yep.
how have I managed this? And suddenly it creeps up on
I
you. You've
know.
got three. And you're like, fuck, I didn't
I
even
know.
realize that
I love
happened.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Vicky, for
I look
joining me
forward to
today.
seeing you and Sergio soon. And
We
okay,
love
thank you.
you. Thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored. Don't forget to rate and subscribe.